The Mr. 19 event was a social event like we all knew. This event was nothing but a test. So guys, the Mr. 19 event comes to find out the World Economic Forum, in a roundabout way, admitted to Mr. 19 being an event to see how we would socially respond to such orders and restrictions that were given during the duration of that event. Now, of course, when it started dying off, Mr. 19, they started lifting restrictions, state by state, city by city, even business by business. The problem with it, guys, is that a lot of us knew at some point it was a test. Like in the beginning, I fell for it like everyone else. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I knew from the beginning. No. And there are a lot of people who sit there and say that bullshit that they knew from the beginning was a test. No, you didn't. Initially, you thought the shit was real, and then you started seeing through the bullshit, and you were like, all right. Now, listen, there's some people that might have seen this coming years ago, and we did see this coming years ago, but not the way they unfolded and not the way it went down. Nonetheless, now looking at the after-action report that the United States released, you read through that report, you start to put together this was a test. Now, again, a lot of us knew it was a test during it, and especially afterwards, but the after-action report makes it even more evident that this was a test, that they were putting us through some shit to see how many monkeys they can get to jump through hoops. And I don't think monkeys jump through hoops, so that's not the point. The point is that they did a social experiment that a lot of people said it was. A lot. There were so many YouTubers and TikTokers that saw this as a social experiment. After about a month or two into it, I realized it was a social experiment because I'm like, this is how they get us. This is how they control us. They create a problem. They tell people this is your hope of surviving this problem. And then if you go along with the program, we will see you will survive. It's pretty much what they were telling you in a coded way as the event went on. They told you put something over your face. You did just that. We did just that. Excuse me. They told you stand 6 feet apart. We did just that. Meanwhile, no scientific backing to the 6 feet apart and no science backing to wearing a surgical mask on your face. Zero. Then they tell you take this arm ticket and this is going to help you not get sick. Then people started getting sick and then they changed the narrative to that again. Oh, well, it's gonna make it less severe. So, of course, guys, they lied to us about the bullshit. We sat there and believed it. And now they turn around and say, well, listen, it was a social experiment. We just wanted to see who was going to listen and how. Now, I said this in my videos a year ago, 2 years ago, that they were looking to see who was going to listen and who was going to resist. But the problem with the resistors is that we have to be careful with the next pandemic they release, because if they release another pandemic and we resist that one and say that it's fake, it's not real, it's not this, we could wind up dying. We could wind up being the rash of people dying because they want to get rid of the resistance by having us not fall for the next one, exposing ourselves, and then dying. That's the plan, and I know that's the plan because that's how I would fucking do it. I would get people to believe this next one's not real. People I don't like, they don't believe it. They don't follow whatever bullshit that they put in play, and then they pass away. Now, as far as following the next orders, no. But I know what to do to protect myself from the next event that they're going to create. I know exactly what to do because I was taught this shit in the fire department and the EMS. So I know exactly what to do, and I'm not listening to them, and I'm definitely not. I know a lot of you guys are not going to take the next arm ticket. But where they're going to make things interesting is the next event that happens is going to affect mostly kids, and people are going to feel guilty, and they're going to take the next arm ticket so that it doesn't off their kids. I can guarantee you that there's not a fucking person here that's not going to fall for it. I'm not going to fall for it because I'm going to protect my kids from whatever the hell is coming our way. I'm going to make sure that they're squared away. I'm going to make sure that they are healthy so that they can combat whatever is coming their way. I'm not going to sit there and put them in a bubble. I'm also not going to sit there and feel guilty and be like, I need to take the arm ticket. So then I turn around and I'm no longer with them. Now, on the WEF website, this was something that they put on their website as one of the markers for an article, this article here. And then the bottom, or not the bottom, but a little ways down in the article, this is something that they wrote that gave way to them knowing what they did was to see how we socially responded to the event. Mr. 19 was the test of social responsibility. A huge number of unimaginable restrictions for public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. There were numerous examples globally of maintaining social distancing, wearing a mask, mass arm tickets, and acceptance of contact tracing application for public health, which demonstrates the core of individual social responsibility. In other words, we fell for their bullshit. In other words, they saw what they did, they saw what they implemented, and rather what the who implemented, and how we followed along. How we got into arguments with one another because we weren't standing 6 feet apart. Because we got in arguments with one another because we didn't have something over our face. People stopped talking to family members because they didn't take the arm ticket. Or the arm, well, rather, I have not heard of anyone not talking to someone for taking the arm ticket. But I heard it the other way around. Now, for those of us that knew people that took the arm ticket, we were disappointed. That was without a doubt. But we didn't stop talking to people over it. But there were people who stopped talking to those who didn't take it. They watched the social collapse of families because of this shit. They saw the stories online. They saw videos. They had interviews. So they know exactly what's going to happen if something worse, legit, comes along. And then you have those resisting against it. Either way, guys, the social experiment that they implemented, they now admitting to in a roundabout way, is now out there for the world to read, and people are not going to read it, and people are going to fall for the next one. But next time, they're going to fall harder, because the next one is going to be a lot more real and a lot more devastating. Other than that, guys, this is The Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching the Angry Truth channel.